All right, good morning. Welcome back. We are here kicking off season 2 of Holy Unapologetic. My name is Marcus. I am a writer and a humanist, and I'm so excited to be here with you with my friend Ace Kipton. How you doing today? You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm doing so well. Yeah, I'm a somatic sexologist, so I help people land into their bodies and experience more pleasure in their lives. It's one of the best jobs out there, if I can be most honest.
That's amazing. We are going to recap a little bit of our season 1, just talk about what we think went well for it. One of the things right out of the gate, I think is my favorite, is that we got to cover a lot of different topics. So we knew when we were picking our name that we were going to be talking a lot about religion. We are both pros in the Christian community, ex pros, as it were. And we knew we were going to be talking about that a lot, but we also didn't want to be boxed in, you know? So we got to have conversations with tons of queer people because we're both trans men ourselves. And we could talk about that experience firsthand. And we also got to talk, one of my personal favorites was all the guests we got to have on of different creative backgrounds. We had writers and we had comedians and we had all sorts of drag performers, things like that, and people talking about their creative work, which is so important now, especially. So, a big theme was how do we heal? How do we heal from trauma? How do we heal and become more safe in our bodies and safe with who we are and everything that we've been through? So, I think that relates really well into what you do, Ace, in terms of the kind of people we've had on. We've had people that have escaped cults, all sorts of amazing things. So, yeah, what do you want to jump in on? What were some of your favorite things with season 1?
Yeah, what I love about what we're doing is we're dropping into real life with people. The pain points that they've experienced, the help that they've received. We've had professionals come to this space that are therapists or somatic body workers. They help people drop into the trauma and do some resolution. We've had kink providers that kind of help us move some of our emotions through our bodies, right? Like, this is a space unlike any other. I think this is a podcast in which we're opening people's minds to what could be. I mean, we're just giving people an opportunity to see what's out there, what kind of experts are out there, what kind of professionals are out there that help us kind of become who we want to be and live in this world fully expressed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had teachers reach out to me and say, like, hey, can you send me the link? Because I think this would be really powerful from one of my students. I love that you brought up kink because I think that's a huge thing of just ways that people could heal and also like destigmatizing things. We've had people talk
Mm-hmm.
about ethical non monogamy and things like that. I love Kristen Warnaka was one of our guests, and she talked about how kink is different for everyone, how that, like, literally it might be for one set of her clients to be just like kind of canoodling in the closet or whatever when they're kids are like in the kitchen or something like that. Like it doesn't have to be some big crazy dramatic thing. But we've also talked to some people that do those big crazy dramatic things and how amazing that is. And you have much more experience in this because I know that was a big part of your healing and your awakening. You've had some really great times recently connecting and bringing together like your team basically. Do you want to talk about that too?
Yeah, so I've been creating spaces for people just to dive in and to allow all of themselves to exist, right? And so I created something called the House of Kip, which is giving people opportunities to really grow into who they are and really get to know professionals in this field. So I think one of the most frustrating things for me was when my life fell apart, I did not know where to go. I did not have a community of support. And so what I'm doing is I'm creating a community of support for people, of experts and professionals in the field that can really meet people where they're at and give them tools and resources to help them move forward in their life, whatever that might look like for them. And so within the House of Kip, we're doing things like group immersions where we bring in professionals to speak about specific topics that help people become embodied. We're doing private one-on work with clients. I'm doing live experiences, like I just did Kink Bound. It was a sold-out event with Orpheus Black here in Loveland, Colorado. Totally epic. We're going to
So
do a Kink
awesome.
Bound Pro. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of really great events that are coming up in the next year just for people to get the opportunity in a braver, safer space to drop into their bodies and experience what's right for them in that moment.
Mm-hmm. So amazing. And I'm
Yeah.
just so inspired by your journey too. And we talked about how you were inspired by seeing Sex, Love, and Goop on Netflix. So something that we all have access to. And now you're friends with some of these people, working with some of these people. Like it's just such a great inspiration of like this helped you heal during one of your darkest times. And now you're helping provide that to the world. And so that's why I love interviewing all these creatives too, even if it's not specifically about, sexology or something like that. Whatever it is that helped them overcome their pain and then actually create something and put something something out in the world is just so inspiring to me. And I want to help other people along their journeys because I struggle a lot with it. I think I'm much more creative than I used to be, but I also feel very insecure a lot of the times. And so seeing people that actually like go through and get things done, I love because we gain so much from each other. And I've certainly gained so much from other people's artwork. But then when it's my time to post, it's like, well, maybe not. So love that you're just making amazing things happen. And I think as
Yeah.
trans people, we also know how amazing it is to literally create ourselves. And something I was thinking about today is that I think it's understandable for trans people that there's a lot of the early phases where you're like, I got to prove myself in a certain way. Of like, no, this is real. This isn't just a phase. This is who I really am. And let me show you. And let me, like, I felt all this pressure as I pretty much lost my entire family in my transition with this idea of like, I have to now be perfect over here to prove that it was worth all of this trouble that I caused by wanting to be called something different. And, you know, even just recently cutting my hair and things like that still feels scandalous, even though I've been growing a beard for a year. And I think the even better step past that is now to be at a space where it's like, I don't really know who I am, and that's okay. And,
Mm.
and I'm just gonna try to figure it out and know that there. It's not like I'm disappearing, but I also think there's this sort of like ego death part of it that can be a healthy part of like I'm someone that likes these things, and I have been someone that's done this in the past. But who do I want to be now? And I feel like I have this beautiful like empty space in front of me, which can be kind of terrifying, but also very exciting versus what it used to always be is the voices of everyone else I've ever known being like, I should this, or this, or I have to prove myself this, or way. So I kind of feel like I'm in a really exciting space, but also an unfamiliar one because I think we like the certainty of like, this is my path. And we certainly know what that's like growing up religious. It's like, this is exactly your path and this is exactly how you follow it, the narrow road, right? And there can be comfort in feeling like you have all those answers. And if there's anything we learned on this podcast, is like we don't have the answers, but we really like talking to people that are trying to live a good life in spite of it. So I think that's
Hmm.
amazing. It's okay to be in that space of uncertainty and just do our best.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, both of us left a community and a culture where it felt safe. And I say
Yeah.
that in a way that, like, it really didn't feel safe, right? Like, it felt like we could not be ourselves. We could not have full expression. There was no congruence or alignment in our lifestyle into who we wanted to be. And that was the
Mm-hmm.
hardest part, right? I lost my faith, my family, my friends, all of that. But what I gained was the ability to have a lifestyle that falls in alignment with who I truly am.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I go about the world today is so much different, right? I'm grounded, I'm centered, I know who I am, I know what I desire, I know how to move forward in my life versus before I was collapsing and becoming small. And so transitioning for me has really given me this space of like figuring out who I am, what I want, need, and desire, and then also like living a life of congruence and alignment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think people can tell. They just sense a different energy with us. People tend to feel very safe with us, feel very open with us, because we've done that in our work and we're not holding. I just think of how many layers we put on for other people. And when you start to strip that away and just become a more authentic version of yourself, it's just so beautiful, which is why even though we tend to lose so much as queer people, we can't go back into that closet. You know, we're so much freer and we wish it for other people, you know, the people that I've been seeing all sorts of great creativity posts. So thank you, algorithm. But they were talking about how like you're basically holding yourself back because of other people's securities. Because if they didn't go 100% in life, then they're going to want to kind of pull you down as that old kind of metaphor of like the crabs in the bucket or whatever. And
Mm.
so to live unapologetically is going to be something that I'm just so glad for that title because I still have so much of that I need to work on. For me, I struggled for so long with my dependence on alcohol, and so much of it was one just like hiding myself entirely. So that was a time where I was like able to feel like I was more myself. And then now, especially of just living unapologetically and unafraid, it's something that can be so tempting to think of the high that I would get when I had a couple drinks and I was like, okay, I actually am allowed to love myself and I actually like myself and hey, I've been working really hard, and then feel like I would kind of sober up and go back to that very classic Christian brain of like not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough, shame on you. Like so that's a big thing of you know my own research and also the things we talk about here is helping people get past that shame that we are all just loaded up with. And so you know I've talked about this a lot. It's like growing up it was it was queer shame, of course, so sexuality, but also gender identity, which I wouldn't know till later, but also from a very young age, feeling like I wasn't one of the girls. And then there's just general misogyny in our culture that is makes you feel ashamed to grow up female, so if assigned female at birth. And then there's also just the general religious shame of like you're a poor, miserable sinner, and every week you have to confess and hope that you're not going to go to hell. Which I guess I'll do a quick segue. We have an amazing guest coming up who wrote a book all about how hell is not really all as biblically based as we might think it is, and how much damage can be done when we fixate on hell. Because so much of, especially the evangelical powers that be nowadays, a lot of it starts to crumble if you actually say, like, well, what if hell doesn't exist? How does that affect your faith, and how does that affect how you live as a hopefully good person? So we're gonna have a lot of really amazing guests, but that's what I'm especially excited about. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that because one of the pieces that's really transformed my life is like I'm gonna be dead in like 50 years and nobody's gonna remember me. Like,
Mm,
and so how am I gonna live my life right now in a way that like it
yeah.
doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter what other people think, what other people say about me, like what's true for me here in this moment. And I'm not trying to get my golden ticket into heaven. I'm just trying to have a really
Yeah.
great experience in this life and do what's best for other people as well. And, join people in their journeys and meet them in that space.
Absolutely. And it does seem kind of sad to think that like, oh, without a god you can't be a good person. It's like, really? Like do you like sometimes it feels like religion is at odds with humanism. It's like, do you think that badly about other people? And it certainly can seem like it sometimes in the media landscape of this, like the other side seems
Mm-hmm.
so untrusting of anyone that's not in their in group. And then we're kind of like, no, we kind of want everyone to be able to eat and to be able to have healthcare and stuff. But won't dive into all of
Right.
that.
Moral exclusion in Christianity is so wild to me because what's happening is they're dehumanizing people.
Yeah.
Oh, trans people are a threat. You're dehumanizing me as a human. I'm not a threat. I'm just another human
Yeah.
being that you don't understand and you don't like want to hear my story to come to understand that, right? Or like
Hmm.
women, treating women as less than, right? Or
Hmm.
immigrants as like an infestation. Like what? Like where do we come off from dehumanizing people and making that a norm in our society right now? It just blows my mind. What
Yeah.
religion, political, cultural norms are doing to our society today.
I saw a great video that compared all of this like rapture ideology. That, in case you're still here, that means we didn't get raptured as of a couple weeks ago, whatever that was. But they were basically like, this is just another like annihilation fantasy, that anyone that's not a part of you is going to be dead or suffering or whatever. Like, it's a really pretty fucked up idea that you think it's okay that we're just gonna yeet out of here and then they're gonna be left to suffer. Everyone that's not me and my little perfect Christian, probably white, cis, straight family, etc., etc., is just really wild. And also, it really bothers me because of the idea that we're not going to work to try to make this place better. We're just going to go to heaven and not have to worry about it anymore. So other people are more like, no, let's try to fix these problems. Like, other countries have fixed these problems. This is not like unprecedented. And as opposed to like, no, we're just going to go to heaven and not have to worry about all that messy stuff. It seems complicated. So that's a
Well,
whole
and
thing.
what they're doing is they're creating hell here on Earth for us, and all the
Yeah.
chaos that they're creating. It blows
Yeah.
my mind.
Yeah, there's kind of a classic quote that's like, the billionaires are describing to you what heaven is like, and that's just what they get to live like on Earth. But they're promising you'll get that in the next life if you work hard enough on this one. So, crazy. So many things.
Man, this is going to be such a good conversation with Brian. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just gonna say with your idea of like, I'm not gonna be alive in a certain number of years, and that's just that. I had an idea the other day that if you think about a picture capturing one moment, you could still be really happy about a picture, even though it is just this little moment. So I started to think of my entire life, because yeah, there's all this pressure of like, am I living beyond in one way or another, or will I create the art that then lives for 1,000 years, as though that's enough justification that I existed? And I was like, well, let me just try to create a really great photo of a life that I took care of myself enough to not bleed onto other people. I tried to take care of my own pain. Maybe I tried to make something great, especially as a creative, I feel that pressure. But to really ultimately take off all the pressure and be like, I'm just a snapshot. We're all made of stardust here by insane odds. And I think what I always come back to is just this idea of like, I feel, therefore other people must feel. That's kind of the only thing I can really know for sure. So I'm going to try to be nice. And then this will be my little snapshot. And hopefully, if anyone ever comes across it, they're like, cool, or something good came of that. But to take off the pressure, or I guess what can sometimes seem like an arrogance of like, of course, I'm going to live in heaven forever if I do everything perfect here, or the pressure to feel like, I don't know, we have to accomplish so much. It's like, we don't have to do anything. I'm just going to try to not to hurt other people and maybe try to make the world a little better place while I'm here, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you, man.
So, anyways, there's so much. We had so many amazing episodes. I'm so excited about our first season. I'll be posting some highlights so we can kind of walk down memory lane together. In terms of my life updates, things are pretty chill. I mean, like, we're talking about like we'd love to be making a lot more money, but otherwise we're doing okay. I'm mostly just on the process of getting my name changed everywhere, which for those that aren't aware is a very lengthy process. I had to get my court order, and then I had to get my social security card changed. Then I had to get my license changed to the DMV because we all love going to the DMV. And then I sent out the paperwork to get my birth certificate updated. And then I'm going to work on getting my passport, which of course is now, it has been scary in this country for a while now. I think even more so with those that have X on their gender marker. But yeah, it's a whole thing. I had to go into every bank that I have an account with. I have to go in and get it changed. So that exciting but unsexy work is kind of my focus these days. But you've got a lot of exciting things going on, Ace. Did you want to kind of recap or let people know where to find you as you start putting out some of this new stuff?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you guys can find me on any social media platform: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. The House of Kip and the House Within, the 7 week program that we're doing, is going to be absolutely amazing. I brought in 6 experts, people that are diversified within the field, people that I found in my journey to be really, really helpful in different areas of, gender, identity, expression, orientation, all things, right? And so we have someone on the team that's like really great at sex magic. We got a somatic body worker. We've got people that are into sensual feasts. Like, we're really going to discuss the whole gamut of sexuality in 7 weeks and help people really embody what's true for them and move forward in that. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's an unheard of offering. I haven't seen anybody else do something like this. And so I'm just really excited to drop into the container with people and see what comes from it. I think there's going to be some massive transformation.
That's fantastic. I'm so excited, so proud of you, man. And we'll be excited to sit down with you too, because I've gained so much from coaching with you. Almost comedically so that within like a month of coaching, I met my fiance and we were,
Hey.
we were very happy together. So I definitely want to sit down because there's always more to work through and talk about and find more pleasure in our day to day lives. And taking ownership of that is such an empowering thing, which is why I think a lot of the powers that be often want to separate us from our body and from our comfort and from our pleasure and from our safety. So all things we can be working on. So excited to hear about what you going on. Like we said, we have amazing guests coming up. If you or anyone listening want to be on the podcast, reach out to us. We're on the socials. Give our YouTube page some love because I put everything on there. I think our Instagram tends to get a little bit more of the attention, but give us a follow and let us know if you want to be on the podcast or if you know someone that would be great to interview here. And we'll catch up with everyone on the next episode of Holy Unapologetic. Welcome to season 2.